Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and it's Andor Day. We're on episode 10 of season 1, One Way Out. And this is the prison break episode. Yay! They haven't fannied about. We've got straight into it after last week. Right, so let's get it up, and we'll have a look as we'll have a review, shall we? Right, so anyway, we've got the previously on. There's Andy Serkis realising that they're not getting out. That's him talking about, stuff. I'm reminded of Mon Mothma and Tay Colmer. She's wanting money, is Mon Mothma, isn't she, for the rebellion? And he suggests an unscrupulous character. So she has a meeting with him in this episode. We learn about Marva's not well. We learn about... we're reminded, that... Saw Gerrera, refused to help this other rebel faction. Because remember, there's all these different rebel factions, and they're not working together. There is no rebel alliance at the moment. It's just a rebellion. All these different factions doing their own things. And there's Dedra Miro doing her stuff. And then we find that, I forgot his name now. But he passes away with they euthanise him because he's had a massive stroke. And that's when they find out that they're not getting out, ever. Even if they're getting short. As in, they haven't got much time left on their sentence. They'll just get moved elsewhere. Right, so we're getting to the episode. I'll not say it. I'll say it every week. The Andor logo. Here it comes, look. Olaf, that's it. Christopher Fairbank appeared as Olaf. They're putting him in a body bag, taking him away. So this is where, now that Olaf's been put in a body bag, Kino Loy, Andy Serkis, and Cassian Andor, Diego Luna, are now plotting to escape, plotting the breakout, and they come up with a plan pretty quick. But remember, we'd already seen in the previous episode Cassian sort of like sawing away at a pipe in the toilets. So they'd obviously had some sort of plan. But now Kino's, he's in on it now because he knows he's never getting out. This is where they're talking about that. Another excellent performance from Andy Serkis. He never gives a bad performance, does he? He's really good in everything he does. So anyway, it's all very dramatic and they're shouting and bawling at one another, but they end up coming to an understanding that they've got to get out of there. But obviously they're scared. Anyway, so they've got to assume the position. Noticed that as they were walking down, they've got the red lights on the floor. Red's for red for dead, white for they're okay. And I noticed as they were walking down, the lights were changing as they walked, so they couldn't go out. They had to make sure that they kept up with the white lights, basically. So they do that. They head into their bunks, and they plot to do the prison break, which I think they do the very next day. It seems like it anyway. It might not be, but it just seems that way. So that's what they're doing there. Right, we're back on Coruscant. This is Dedra Miro in the ISB, and they've just found that. Remember, in the previous episode, they'd found a ship from this rebel faction. I can't remember the name of the man in charge, something like Kriego or something like. I can't remember. They'd found a ship and a pilot that worked for him, and they killed the pilot and they damaged the ship and make it drift because it were on its way to Catherine, the rings of Catherine. They were on its way there. When they intercepted it. So they put it in the shipping lanes around the rings of Catherine, and it gets picked up It's like adrift, and he gets picked up. So that's when they decide that they're going to go and keep an eye out and see what happens, and see if they make contact with any of the rebel cells. So that's what happens there. We see where is that? I've gone too far. As usual, there we see this chap here. I don't know his name. I think it might be told us, but I can't remember it. We see him lurking about, and it does mention some things, and we find out that he's working with Stellan Skarsgård. I'm telling you, my memory. Luthen Rail. There we go. We find out he's working with Luthen Rail, and but kind of willingly, but is terrified. He's in over his head, and you get the impression that Luthen has kind of threatened his family. But anyway, so he's working for the rebellion. Oh, here we go. So he's the counter. Remember, they use Arabic numerals in Star Wars for some weird reason. So that's 2155. I think we're on 2156, and we're on 2156, and it's gone down to 2155. But obviously, those numbers are meaningless. But remember, when Cassian first went in, you were told to ignore the numbers by one of the inmates. So obviously that inmate had some insight. Anyway, they're off to work, and the plan is in motion. What they've got to do, they've got to wait for a new prisoner to be brought down. They must be brought down regularly, and that's when they're going to start their plan. All right, we're back on Ferrix, and we see that Marva's house is being watched by Imperial agents. We find out that she's not taking a medicine. I don't think we actually see her, but we see this fella here as a doctor, and we learn that she's not taking the medicine because she says it makes her feel poorly or whatever. So she'd rather it puts her off of food. That's it. But she'd rather eat food than take medicine that makes her feel poorly. But and then we see that they're being watched. Here he is, this shady-looking character. He's obviously an Imperial agent. Then we're back on Coruscant. This is the ambassadorial residence of Mon Mothma, and this is the chap that she's meeting, the unscrupulous chap. I forgot his name, something like Davos something or other. Because Davos is in Switzerland and is probably the equivalent of a Swiss banker, but he's not a very scrupulous banker. He's a rich person. He's become wealthy through doing like underhanded deals, because the Empire has kind of tightened its grip on things, but it means that people who can work the system get very wealthy, and he's one of these. So we find that there he is. So we have he has a meeting with Mon Mothma. And she obviously doesn't like him, and he appreciates that. And she wants to pay him for his services. It's like a money launderer sort of thing, I suppose. She wants to pay for his services, but he doesn't want paying. He says he's already wealthy. He doesn't want paying. And basically what he wants to do is he wants his son to be introduced to her daughter. And he says, I don't want him to be betrothed. But obviously he's wanting them to get together so that he'll be married into a rich Chandrilan family. And Mon Mothma doesn't like the idea of that and tells him to get out. But she's obviously going to accede to his demands in the end. But just not now. Because she hasn't told him no straight away, and he tells that to her. Right, we're back in Luthen Rail's shop. This is his assistant. I'm sure she's got a name. She's got a message from that chap we saw before. He leaves little signs. There was a sign on the fountain, and the handrail were broken. That must mean that he wants a face-to-face meeting. So he's got to go and do that as Luthen. We're back on the prison planet, which I forgot the name of. Narkina 5. They're getting ready to do their stuff. This chap's waiting. He waits by the lift. And There goes another prisoner coming down. These are the guards. Cassian's in the toilet, sawing away at this pipe. He's not doing a very good job. He ends up forcing it, but he gets the job done in the end. So it's all very tense. He ends up on loads of water spilling out. There we go. It all comes out as the water. Here we go. He comes out of the loo. We've got to, assume the position. There's something they say, but I can't remember what it is. So they're all stood there. All this water's coming out. And then they all go, they all attack, basically. So everything all starts blowing up and shorting out, presume because of the water. But they're throwing stuff at the guards. And so the guards start shooting back. It's all jolly exciting. Here we go. Good old Kino Loy goes, attack! Very dramatically. What's happening there? Something's blowing up, it looks. There we go. Is this where he's going to say it? Attack! There we go. So they all rush the guards. The guards start shooting, and obviously some of them get killed. But they overpower the guards, and then it becomes basically a running gun battle through the corridors of this prison facility. I say it's all super exciting, and the free other prisoners, and Kino Loy gets onto a radio, well, not radio, tannoy system, whatever. Once they get to the command centre, and they order these chaps to shut off all the power, turn off the hydroelectric power, because it's on they're in like an ocean. It's like an ocean base, like the raft in the MCU, but it's using the water for the energy, for the power in some like hydroelectric generators. So they tell them to shut that off, and then it goes to the backup generator. So it turns off all the power to the electrified floors. So they do that, and that's when Kino Loy gets on the radio and tells everybody, all the prisoners, that they're never getting out. This is their chance to escape. So that's what happens there. So they go. I thought Cassian were actually going to shoot. There were two guards. One of the guards they shoot to show that they mean business, and the other two, they don't shoot. And I thought he was just going to shoot them, but he didn't. They left them alive, and so this is all the other rooms, the other workrooms, realizing that they can escape because all the lights have gone out, all the floors have gone. They're not electrified anymore. So they've got a mass breakout. Some of the guards are hiding in a room. This is Kino telling them that this is their chance. There's one way out, because they're never going to get out otherwise. And he tells them that if you're due to leave, you do be released. You don't get released. You just get sent somewhere else. And they're just making up sentences, which they are, as we know. So there's this mass breakout, and they all end up they're all climbing up these stairs. Obviously, there must be no power to any elevators or whatever. So they're climbing up all these stairs, like hundreds of floors by the looks of it. Oh, there's quite a few anyway. But then they get to the top, and they get to this opening, and they're all jumping into the sea, like hundreds of feet down into the sea. They're all just jumping. And I thought they were going to get to the top and there'd be like, transport ships or something for them to, commandeer. But no, they're just all jumping to the sea. But then Andy Serkis says, I can't swim. But I don't know if he actually goes. They're saying, I can't swim. There we go, Candor. Cassian Andor goes over. They're all jumping. And I don't actually know. Does Kino Loy go? I don't know. Does he get pushed over? I can't remember. That's why I'm doing this for, so see if it refreshes my memory. I watched this morning. It's been a while since I watched this episode. I usually do them straight away, but I was delayed today. So, if you want to know, I've been watching something else. Something else has piqued my interest. And I've been sat watching that all day. I'll not say what, but it's really good. There we go. They're all swimming away. I don't know if Keno Loy's jumped or if he's going to stay there. I don't know. They've all jumped, and I was thinking, where are they going to swim to? Where they're going? We find out later on they actually swim to shore. So it mustn't be that far away. But then I was thinking, what about the other? Because there's other facilities in the area. So what's happening there? Surely all the alarms should have gone off on those as well. There should be a full alert on the planet, and you think they'd be like TIE fighters or whatever swooping down and shooting them out the ocean, wouldn't you? But anyway, they're off. Look, they're all swimming away. There you go, showing it from a great height. And then we cut to we're back on Coruscant now, and we're in the depths of the Coruscant city. This is that ISB officer that we've seen, and he's going to have a chat with Luthen Rail. He takes an elevator, and at first he talks through a radio and an earpiece. Then they talk face to face, and he tells them about Dead Ramiro, this young upcoming officers, hot on their tail, and tells them all about Ferrix and Cassian Andor, and that it's linked with Aldani. And Luthen Rail says he had nothing to do with Aldani, so he's lying. But she found the connection to Aldani, and also he knows about the attack on the power station at some place, I don't know, that's being planned. So they know about that, and Luthen Rail's saying, well, we can't do anything about it. The attack's got to go ahead, otherwise they'll know that they've got an informer inside. So he's more important, this officer here is more important to Luthen Rail than like 50 rebel soldiers that could die in this attack, because it'll be a trap and they'll know that they're coming. So that's how we found how ruthless Luthen Rail is. But he says, this chap asks Luthen what he's sacrificed, and Luthen says, he's sacrificed, a good night's sleep and all that, and he knows that basically he's going to go to hell. He's not going to go to heaven for what he's done. He knows he's sending people to the deaths and all that. This is where they meet face to face, and for some reason he's wearing a cape. Maybe capes make him look more menacing. But here he is. What have I done there? Sorry, I left it playing, didn't I, for some reason. So there he is. So he sends the fella back. He wants out, by the way, as the officer. He says he's too scared, he's frightened of being caught, he's got a family, he's just had a kid, he's had a baby. But Luthen says, no, you've got to go back. So, we're all trapped. We're all trapped in this situation. So he's got to send him back, and he can't just let him go. He'd have to kill him and his family. He doesn't say that, but that is intimated. So that's that. Then we cut back to the Narkina 5. Oh, there we see some searchlights on. A bit late now, isn't it? And here we see Cassian and Melshi. They've made it to shore. Doesn't show us any of the others. Have they all made it? Have none of them? Are they the only two that have made it? I don't know. But they've got to the shore. Don't know where they're going to go. But they go running. To safety. I suppose we'll find out next week where they're going. But that's the end of the episode. You see 3 moons in the sky, and so the camera pulls back, and there we go. That's it. That's the end. So, although it was a jolly exciting episode, pretty quick to review because it was just the prison break mainly, and a couple of other things. But it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Good action. The prison break were well done. Apart from the jumping into the sea part, I didn't really, that seemed a bit strange to me. As I said, I'd have thought one of these facilities there'd be like landing pads on top, wouldn't you, for transports, and you'd have thought that they commandeered a transport. If one were there, I mean, maybe they're not there all the time, maybe. But that'd be the logical thing to think, not just jump into the sea. I would think they are Galadriel. But anyway, So there you go. So a good episode. Not the best, but a good episode, a good solid episode, and it makes us want more. We've got 2 more to go, episodes 11 and 12. So it's building up to ahead. Melshi and Andor have been put together now. So are they going to stay together now? Hopefully they do, because we see them in Rogue One working together, don't we? Obviously know each other. So there we go. So I'll give this episode, what shall I say? One Way Out, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It's worth an 8 out of 10 for the prison break, because it were very tense and it were very well done, apart from the jumping into the sea bit. But, they were desperate. But the Empire was slow to react, I think. It seemed to be anyway. But it could be said about, as it said in Firefox, about the Soviet Union or the KGB, it's like a monster. If you're quiet enough, you can sneak past it, and it might just lift an eye. It's like a sleeping monster, that's what he said, didn't it? Might just lift an eye and sniff at you. But if you awaken it, and I think that's what they've done here, it's happened so fast, the Emperor hasn't had time to react. So anyway, but I suppose we'll see what happens next week. So we'll leave it there. A quick review, really. Some of my reviews of this have gone on like 45, 50 minutes, sometimes nearly an hour. But this one, we've got it over and done with in 25 minutes. But as I said, a lot happened, but it was just mainly the prison break, wasn't it? So we'll leave it there. So wherever you are in the galaxy, look after each other. And until next time, I'll say this.